Hello folks, another Wednesday and another whiskey with me, Phil. Now Christmas time is drawing ever closer. When the time this video goes up, it'll be the 14th of December, so you know, we're getting through it quite quickly, second week in. And what reminds you of Christmas more than sherry? And we are going to delve into one of the most glorious expressions of single barrel sherried whiskey that I've ever come across. Now, there's a few things dotted around on the table today. I've got some water, I've got the whiskey, I've got the bottle, but I do have this very nice decanter which contains said whiskey. This was a gift from my sisters last year for Christmas, and it's a wonderful thing. And the whiskey has actually started to stain this, which is quite interesting. But as you can see from this wonderfully dark colour, this is the whiskey we'll be trying today. And this is the bottle that it came in. Now this, I know some of you may not be able to see that, this is Balvenie 15-year-old single barrel. This came out about 2.5 years ago, something like that. They replaced their bourbon single barrel with it. And I remember when it came out, I tried it at a launch tasting and it was really spicy. And I thought, oh, don't really like this. And then I tried another one and it was really sweet. And then I tried another one and it was a good balance of everything. And you always forget that it's a single barrel on the front of it, so each one's going to be very different each time. There'll be a consistent flavour that is Balvenie-esque, but each one will have its own wonderful little fingerprint of flavour that you'll be able to trace back to some wonderful cask that's been sitting in a warehouse for years. This is bottle number 282 from cask number 2801, bottled at 47.8%. It is natural colour, and it is one of only 650 bottles from the one single cask, which is quite interesting. I do believe that this is still being made. You can still buy it. I know there was a little bit of speculation as to whether or not it was still being made, but it is still being made. You can still find it everywhere. Balvenie, what do you know about Balvenie? It is a distillery that was established in 1892. So there is exactly a century between the birth of this distillery and the birth of me. So Balvenie is 124 years old. We'll be 125 next year. I will be 25 next year. So we are somewhat akin in a very long, distant thing. But let's crack on with this whiskey. So single barrel sherry cask whiskey, aged all for 15 years. 47.8% ABV. Now you can kind of expect what to get from this straight away. And it's been sat in this decanter for around, so about a month and a half, maybe even a little bit more. So it's had plenty of opportunity to air out. Whether or not you believe in airing out whiskey is a different thing altogether. Some people do, some people don't. That is my phone, just let me turn that off. That's rather embarrassing. Put that away. Yeah, airing whiskey out. Heavily sherried stuff might require it a little bit more. I decanted it just because, in all honesty, it looked really cool in the decanter. It tastes great too. But enough about that, we'll crack on with this tasting. And as you've already examined with the colour, it is just this absolutely stunning kind of autumnal ruby colour. Truly outstanding. There's not much whiskey in the world that's got a colour as beautiful as that. Cask 2801 provided it. Let's have a little smell. Now something I always get with Balvenie is honey. The 12-year-old double wood, the 14-year-old Caribbean cask, the 12-year-old single barrel from a bourbon cask. Loads of honey, loads of lime, really kind of biscuity, cheesecakey flavours, all that kind of stuff. This is quite different. It has sweetness, but it's almost like I can't really put my finger on it. The only thing it's making me think of is Coca-Cola. It's got this, so you could argue there's somewhat of a lemony note in that already. You know, that kind of angel root kind of flavour. But there is just a kind of remarkable sugary, acidic sweetness about it. It's just plums and figs and really kind of like heavily marinated fruit, like Christmas style fruit, and then it's been baked and it's gone all kind of sticky and it's all falling apart. Yeah, figs, plums, apples, dates, they've all been kind of baked together. Cocoa powder, kind of like hot chocolate powder. And And I've already said plum, but it does remind me a little bit of kind of like, you know, plum sauce, or maybe even like hoisin sauce. But because it's bottled at a slightly stronger percentage of 47.8, there are some other very interesting, not very typical Balvenie notes coming through the back. Like there's a nice bit of salt kicking around in it. You can honestly smell it for hours. It reminds me of kind of those early 90s bottlings of Macallan 18. It does have that going on with it, kind of like ginger snaps and cardamom. Just tuck in. Okay. A running theme I've had for a few of the last current videos. Whiskies that smell and taste extremely different. This has an initially extremely sweet arrival. You get all of that sherry, all of those really heavily raisined grapes. A little bit of that kind of tangy lemon, like sour lemon sweet kind of thing. And I'll have another taste because this is the first alcohol I've had all day. And it has dried my mouth out quite a lot. But then again, 15 years in wood at 47%, it's probably going to do that anyway. So let's see if we can get some more tasting. The mouth has adjusted to the alcohol. Yeah, okay, so it's not as dry that time. Loads and loads of kind of like cocktail ingredients. Yeah, there's a little bit of like creme de cacao, there's a little bit of creme de cassis coming through there. There is still a dry note, which you will expect from a single barrel 15-year-old whiskey. That reminds me a little bit of Campari, kind of bitter sweet, well not even sweet, just really kind of bitter dry styles. Like drinking a Boulevardier cocktail. Again, I've already said creme de cacao, but those kind of dark chocolate notes, that cocoa powder note comes through again, and all of those wonderful sour winter fruits. It's not a very typical Balvenie, which is nice because I've tried old Balvenie, like 21-year-olds and 30-year-olds, and the 30-year-old is genuinely outstanding. You could just smell that thing for weeks. It has so much complexity about it. But I do find myself, I do tend to prefer the younger Balvenie styles. Not because they are more affordable, so that's better, you know, rather than you can spend £40 rather than 700. But there is something about this that is so uniquely different to a Balvenie style. It's a very wintry style of drink, and I still taste it now. It is extremely complex, very layered, and I don't mean this in a bad way when I mention this, but for me Balvenie's always been a very simple whiskey in the nicest way. Nice bit of honey, caramels, vanillas, really soft, kind of gentle, silky finish. This has got some oomph, this has got some power, and the 12-year-old single barrel does exactly the same thing. It lulls you into this sense of sweet kind of opulence, and then it's like, no, I've got more than you think. It's got a lot of bitterness, it's got dry qualities to it. I think this is about 80-ish pounds a bottle. I picked it up for about 83, I think. I fell in love with the colour. You should never ever buy whiskey purely based on colour. But I tried a few of them in the past and I thought it's time that I owned one, so I bought it. Luckily it tastes absolutely fantastic. But the finish again, still going on. Dark chocolate, sour plums, figs, dates. Big, complex, dry, spicy, sweet whiskey. I think it's a no-brainer with this one. It's an 8 out of 10. Really is nice, solid whiskey. I have heard through the grapevine, I don't know whether this was like a publicised thing or nothing, but Balvenie have announced, or did announce, that they wouldn't be removing any age statements from their range at any point, which is awesome for people who always buy whiskey with an age on it. I don't, but there are still people out there who only buy whiskies with ages on them. So Balvenie will be able to cater to you for a very long time. They won't be removing any age statements. As a result, you should probably expect a slight increase in price over the next couple of years. Perhaps. It's all speculation at the minute, we're not really too sure. But I think that deserves a solid 8 out of 10. Can't really go wrong with it. It does everything you could want it to, plus a lot more. 15 years, all sherry, 650 bottles, and that's it. Truly, truly remarkable product. Very, very nice, and it sits very prettily in this decanter, which now means I can throw this bottle away, because like I said, that's been in there for about a month, and I knew I was going to do this review, but I needed the bottle. So that can now go in the recycling. And thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Phil. This has been Balvenie 15-year-old, and hopefully, as Christmas draws closer, you're having a great time. Don't let shopping and all that kind of stuff get you down. It's a wonderful time of year, and it should be celebrated in all the right ways, and whiskey is certainly one of the ways to do it. Crack a bottle open, share it with some good friends, share it with some family, and just bring in the holiday festive spirit. So cheers, guys. I'll see you around. Oh, one last thing before we go. I went to the post office today, and High West Distillery, who are an amazing American whiskey blending company. I've just seen this at my feet and I've just remembered. They sent me this little package, and I've been part of the High West Members Club for a while now, and I didn't think they'd send me this, but from High West. This has travelled all the way from Utah to Manchester, so I'm pretty sure this thing has travelled further around the world than I have ever to this point in my life. And they sent me this nice little cup. So thank you very much, High West. I'm trying to get all the samples of your whiskey to review, and thank you for this, with this nice little recipe on the back of it. I'll probably try and make this at some point. But yeah, cheers High West, shout out to you for reviewing some of your whiskies in the new year, hopefully. And yeah, enjoy your day, guys. Thank you. See ya.